Right, we're here now with Roland Welker. Roland is the winner of season 7, I believe, of Alone on the History Channel. And we've all watched this show. We all watched every episode. I binged it for a couple of weeks during the lockdown. And it's great to have him on. Welcome, Roland.
Yeah. Thanks, you limey sons of bitches. I love the Brits, boys. I love the Brits. I just like to come in with something strong.
So Roland is from Alaska. He's a registered big game guide, a trapper, logger, and gold miner. I want to get into that. What do you gold miner? What's all that about? I never knew this about you.
Yeah. I tried the gold mining thing. You learn a lot mining gold. It's placer gold. It's loose, free in the ground. You can mine it without damaging the country. You know, the mining stigma is a lot of times incorrect these days. And without going political, you can mine without destroying the country, especially this free placer gold in the stream. And it was very captivating to me for a long time. And it takes you to places that are so remote, you know, and there's the old mining history there. Like if you got the gold mining history, if you're a reader of Jack London or Robert Service, you know, the old timers busting into the Klondike and then on over to Nome and up the Fairbank. You know, these are the men that opened up the country and helped create one of the greatest civilizations on earth, you know, North America, the United States. Not so much Alaska, you know, Alaska's still very remote, but gold mining played a big part in the settling the lower 48.
Because I've seen that. What's that show? They got the gold miners show that I was watching on one of them channels, D-Max or something. But they're diving for it.
That's Nome, and that's always been historically rich. I wasn't up around Nome. I'm in southwestern Alaska. There's gold out there, but you know my areas were rich in history and unfortunately slightly weak in gold. I never really, you know, cashed in as the gold miner, but it led me down some pretty cool trails and helped make me who I am. I had my own mine, and it was small potatoes, you know, a few ounces here and there, but it really connects you to the land and your history. And mining gold's almost like there's things you learn mining gold that you ain't gonna pick up nowhere else. You know, like it's the heaviest metal on earth. Everybody should pretty much know that. Yeah. And the way it moves through the water and gets caught is pretty fascinating.
So what's with the? How did you? Was that one of the things that led you down to be this survival expert then? Because like, did you just want to go out into the wild and live, or did something kind of force you? Is that just the way? I don't know nothing about Alaska. Is that just the way everyone is up there?
Alaska's just so big, you know, it's so damn big, and no roads. That's another key to the draw to Alaska. You know, the roads are the death of the wilderness. You stab a road in and you really take away from the wilderness. So Alaska, you got, you know, I don't know how many thousands of miles of pure wilderness without a road. Like when I leave Anchorage, I have to get on an airplane and fly 250 miles due west to Red Devil on the Kuskokwim River where I live. If you get your Google map out and all that shit on the computer, you can see it's out there. You know, we're flying across the Alaska range. You cannot get there in a vehicle. You can't get there from here if you're taking a car. You know, you take aircraft. That's the way everybody's traveling in Alaska. But I did snow machine across once. You can take a dog team over. And, you know, that's the way I did Rudd Trail runs. They dog team it and they snow machine it. I did that one snow machine. Or you could get on boat and go clear around the Aleutians and come into Kuskokwim Bay and up the Kuskokwim River on a river barge. You know, that would have been an old timey trail. Everybody's flying in nowadays. You can't drive there.
So where are you based most of the time now? Then are you still mainly in Alaska, or are you all over? You haven't got a home. What are you doing?
I'm a nomad. I live in Alaska at least half, if not 2/3 of the year. And then I get up with my big game clients down in the States and do a little hunting with them and a little bit of guiding in some other states. And I follow the hunt. Wherever the next hunt's at, that's where I go.
What would you do?
So I'm staying in Alaska and trapping for the winter, or, you know, I'll do some gold mining in the summer. Little bit of fishing.
So when you was a kid, was this your thing? You just wanted to kind of like stay out off the grid, or was it something that when you was like an adult? How early did you start realizing what you wanted to do?
This was a childhood gig. It started at least 8. I can vividly remember being 8 and gravitating toward this. I just always, I don't know, I never quite fit into a group of people. I don't even care if they were my kind of people. And if they ain't my kind of people, I definitely don't fit in. I've always been the odd man out. But I don't like being crowded, you know. So even if I'm in a crowd, I just kind of keep my distance.
Yeah.
But I can deal with crowds if I have to. And so I just started this life in my head of going to the woods. And it ain't just the little fishing trip once in a while or a hunt once in a while. You know, I even as a boy, I was the kid. I say this a lot and you'll hear it on other podcasts, but I vividly remember so many situations like this where I would get off the bus on Friday evening, already have my little outfit packed up, my backpack and my tent and my sleeping bag. It could be raining. It'd be pounding rain. And I'd hike off. And I grew up in rural Pennsylvania. There's a little bit of woods there. It would be big woods probably compared to what you guys are used to there. Yeah. And I'd backpack in a rainstorm in a pop tent all weekend by myself because, you know, nobody else was into it.
Where's that in Pennsylvania?
Central Pennsylvania, kind of a unique spot. Everybody thinks East Coast is ruined, but there's some giant pieces of state land in central Pennsylvania, northern Pennsylvania. These are the Appalachian Mountains, hillbilly heaven. That's where I come from. This is, you know, it's overcrowded. And now I've went to Alaska and things, but I mean, my culture, my roots were hillbilly Appalachia roots. And then there was a lot of coal mining country back then, and there still is a little, but they owned broad sections of land and you could roam around on them too. It was real rural. I come from a logging, open pit, hillbilly style, coal mining, entrepreneur type family, both sides. My mother and my father, both sides of the family, loggers and coal miners.
Yeah.
That's pretty woodsy. That's rural. You know, we've always made our living off the land, even in an industrial sense. You know, I'm not saying we were living off the land like the Alone gig, but we've always made our living off the resources.
Right. So we get onto Alone now, as you mentioned it there. Sure. How did that come about? Did someone approach you? Did someone come to you and say you should fucking go and do that? Like, is that what happened? I don't get a lot of TV. I ain't saying I don't like TV. I flick it on all the time when I have it. So my clients are showing up. These are clients from all over the country, and they're telling me about this great, amazing show that the History Channel's putting out called Alone. You know, they started telling me about it from season 1 and explaining it to me. And I thought, yeah, that sounds just like, you know, right up my alley. And they all said, you thought, I know exactly what it was. You thought, fuck that. There's not enough money in that for me. I'm going to wait till it's $1 million. And then I'm going to go do it.
That was just, I'll never forget where I was when I was told it was going to be for $1 million this time. And I was already in, and then they said, well, okay, we're going to spur somebody on to do the 100 days. And I thought, fucking right, I'm a millionaire now. I wasn't there yet, but that's just kind of how, you know, I do shit. And
this is what we all said.
Like I said, I started this at 8, and then I spent whole winters in Alaska in a wall tent and stuff. I've run out of food before. I've ate my sled dogs. I've done some pretty crazy shit. So
I won't let you meet my dogs then.
Yeah, I've been prepared.
He's got huskies.
40 years. This was a 40-year career come together.
Yeah.
So I watched it. So I watched it during the summer, and then I'll contact you. I finished watching. I finally did get this guy on a podcast because I remember the moment that I was watching it, and I don't know who it was. Somebody I can't remember the names of some of the others, but one of the other contestants, they ate a squirrel and got really, really fucking ill.
Yeah.
And then I see you with this squirrel, with this blood dripping all over your fucking face, licking it all off, and I thought he's going to win. He's not completely. He's completely unaffected by this squirrel. Everyone else is throwing up all over the place. He knows what he's doing. And everyone was giving it, I'm going to win. I know I'm going to win. And I just thought, you're not. Like, you're all going to quit. And I think it's only the one lady that didn't, wasn't it? What was her name? The blonde girl with the frostbite.
Was the runner-up. She was pretty amazing.
Yeah, she was never going to quit. I knew it was going to be out of you two. Everyone else was up and down, didn't know what they was doing.
Even her at the beginning, when she was so laid back about getting her camp sorted, I didn't think she'd last as long as she did. But you sort of got off the helicopter, and I thought he's won. So at times.
Yeah, she was annoying me.
So easy.
She was pissing me off so much when she was like, "Oh, I don't know where to build my house. I don't know where to build my shelter. I'm going to wait another couple of days." And I just think, what are you fucking doing? Like, everyone else was just getting on with it. But then what do I know? It turned out all right for her in the end.
Yeah. She had her way, man, and she was there to day 89. She proved herself big time. I mean,
that must have pissed her off so much. What was they going to do, Roland? If say she'd lasted 100, you split the money. Is that how it works?
That's how it was going to be, and that's why I wasn't. I didn't wish none of them any good because I wanted the whole pot. Now we didn't know. The whole time you're in there for your 100 days or whatever you made it to, the whole time you're going for it. You don't know what them other people are doing. You have no clue. No clue if you're the last one, if there's 5 left, nothing. I didn't know what Callie was doing until I came out and watched it.
No, because
even when I got, pulled and obviously knowed I won and everything, you don't know what none of the other ones did till you watched it. They just got me in and got me out.
Yeah.
It's kind of a game with yourself. So I just focused on the 100 days and that's it.
Was they trying to make it look more close than it actually was? Because I remember there was only one point that I thought, I think got to about 70 or 80 days and you were going, I think you're going a bit crazy in your little rock house. And you was kind of like talking about, I don't know where I'm going to get food. I'm getting a bit hungry. And I'm thinking, fuck, is he going to screw it up with 20? He's not going to quit. There's no way, this guy. But I thought maybe there's a chance that you might lose too much weight. They'll come pull you or something like that. But they didn't show from then on. Once they pulled her out, they didn't show you at all. And I just thought, I'm assuming the food situation picked up after that, did it?
Well, I had more food than anybody in Alone history. You got to watch some other years to understand how good I pulled this off. I set the Alone benchmark clear up to the fucking ceiling. Yeah. So there, whenever I was talking, you get real familiar with the camera. Everything I said into the camera, I meant I don't like bullshit real good. But I mean, I was far, far, far from tapping out. They just kind of looked that way. I mean,
yeah,
I don't get that lonely. See, my mother just went before that, and then you see that in the show, and they portrayed that really good, and they did that excellent. Actually, I like that. But you get comfortable with that camera, and you'll say, you've been out there 100 days. You'll say crap into it that later when you're watching, you're like, oh, geez,
Yeah, you got, because I thought there was a chance. I thought there's only two ways this guy ain't winning, and that's it, if a food supply runs out some way. Because you had all those berries, didn't you?
Oh man, I had loads of them. Yep.
Yeah, and they all fucking went manky, didn't they?
Yeah.
Is that right?
What's that?
They all went all manky, didn't they? They'd go off. You put all those berries to one side. Was that you?
You mean when they went moldy a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. The mouse was getting into them, and I put them up in the ceiling so they'd be in the smoke, but then they never froze good, and they got kind of funky. But I didn't lose them all.
I was thinking, and the other one was, what was the place where you was fishing?
Danger Rock. I named
that's
that
right.
Danger Rock.
You had a name for everything. You had Calendar Tree. I remember that.
I'm the first one in the whole show's history to name my spots, and that goes clear back to all my other wilderness training and living. When you're in the true wilderness, nothing has a name. You got no landmarks. You got to start, especially if you got a partner with you. That way you can tell each other, oh yeah, you remember where we ate the dog or whatever. Everything has to become something. That's part of You know, that's how our streets got named and whatever, you know, that's the beginning of civilization, you know, naming your tools, naming your spots. And that goes back to my experience, you know. I'm not saying everybody on there, even in the other years, ain't talented, but they just didn't have my experience.
Oh, come on, you can just say they're all shit. It don't matter.
Them fuckers, but
what really surprised me is when the other contestants were actually like chasing bears to kill a bear, and I'm thinking, you're crazy motherfuckers. It's like I'll be running in the opposite direction.
That's why you're not on it. You're going McDonald's.
Well, we had a bow and arrow.
Yeah. Could you? So how did it work? Did you choose to take what you took? You was allowed to take a certain amount of things or something like that, was it?
Yes, that's exactly how it worked. We all had a standard clothes list. Everybody got 2 trousers, 2 boots, 3 hats. I forget the exact list, but it was identical. And so you could, you know, pick your own sizes and thickness and all that, you know, you could control the quality, but the standard list was the same. After that, you had your 10 items, 10 tools. Your bedding wasn't one of them. Your sleeping bag's one of your 10 items, you know, and then you got to have an axe. You got to have a cook pot. You got to have fire. There's like 5 or 6 of these items that everybody picks the same, because anybody that does this, there's just certain things that are no brainers. You have to have those. So then you're down to your last 2 or 3 or 4 items, and that's where you have to really start making a lot of decisions. You know, that's your hunting equipment, you know, like your bows and your nets and your wire and your fishing line and what have you. But after that, that's all you got. You got your clothes, you got your 10 items, and then you got a giant box full of cameras and batteries that ain't helping you none. That just makes it harder.
I was going to ask you about that. Don't that piss you off?
And then you're just dumped. You're just dumped with all that stuff, and that's it. There's no food. You know, food is there. Water you can mostly find. Everybody can come up with some kind of shelter, but when you're dumped off with nothing to eat, man, it gets real. It gets so real. You might have heard people say it. You know, when things get tough, they'll live off the land. And them fuckers don't know what they're talking about.
Couldn't live off the land, do you?
You can't. There's not even any wilderness in this country. Did you meet the other contestants before you went in? You didn't have a clue who nobody was, or did you sort of size them up and think, oh fucking, this is going to be easy, or did you think he might be a bit of a problem, or she's a bit tough? What did you think?
Yeah. We were familiar with each other because there's just so much preparation, you know, before the launch.
Yeah.
More paperwork, more camera work, you know, physicals and things, making sure everybody's ready. So yes, I know them all, and you know, I had them categorized where they were going to place in the whole thing. I had myself at number 1.
Was you right?
Never came off that. I had Keith. He was the Kentucky boy, another Appalachia boy. I had him picked as a very tough contender. I thought he'd come in too. Joel, he was the tall fella with the South African accent.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. I felt he was going to be strong. And then the only one after that I had picked, my first 4 picks, Callie. Callie, I had her right there too.
Yeah.
I had her pegged from the beginning as a little toughie.
Yeah.
Who was the Royal Marine? Not Royal Marine, the Marine. There was a guy who was in the Marines.
Yeah, that was Mark. Mark was the Marine. Yeah.
Because I thought he was doing really well, and all of a sudden he just disappeared, and I was like, oh well.
Yeah. He had a hell of a fishing hole. I'd have loved to have him or Amos's fishing hole. They caught a gob of fish. And so I don't know where he decided, you know, that he'd had enough, you know, but without beating any of them up too hard, 100 days is a long time. I mean, that's a long time to set your ass out there.
Yeah, watching, I was thinking some of these, they're giving up a bit too easy. But then I thought, I wouldn't last half as long. So, I
wouldn't last
half an hour. Half as long.
No books, no reading material, you know, no journaling, nothing.
Chris, you couldn't take any of your pornos.
No, exactly.
No, hell no. Just. Well, I did sneak. No, but all that, man, it's all gone. you ain't got it. Yeah, it would have been handy.
Yeah, so I was thinking, didn't as I was saying before, but I've lost my thread here. So I thought you're either you run out of food, which they was which obviously there was no danger of that, but it's what they was trying to portray to make it seem more close, or you was gonna fuck yourself down at Danger Rock trying to catch some fish because you fell over down there, didn't you? I thought, and when you went down, I thought this is it. He's gonna break his leg or something, and he's out. And I was thinking, what the fuck's he doing?
I did take a couple spills at Danger Rock. I don't know. I've never had a broken bone in my whole life. I'm just one of them guys that doesn't get hurt, you know. But to hold that net down, I had to carry. You know, they did. There's so much you don't see because there's just thousands of hours of footage. It's impossible. Yeah. But I had to carry some rock over to hold that net down so that the waves wouldn't wash it off that ledge, and then carrying them rocks. You know, a couple times I fell and them rocks came down on me, but. I don't know. I just, like I said, I don't get hurt. It seems like I fall the right way every time. And that people, I've been asked, what's your survival secrets? And they all think there's some mysterious secret trick, you know. And I tell them, and they think I'm being a smart ass. And I kind of am, and I kind of ain't, you know. I say, you don't get sick, you don't get hurt, and you don't lose your shit, you know. And those are pretty sound pieces of advice.
Yeah. So how often were you seeing these guys? Because you just said about all the cameras and shit, and we don't think about that kind of stuff when we're watching. Then was it pissing you off? What instructions was you given about the filming of yourself? So was you told put a camera over there? Because this is what I just think. After 50 days, I'd be like, fuck that. Put a camera over there to film you walking over there and shit like this. Like, how could you be bothered to keep doing that?
You go set up. Go back and walk through it, do your talking. We're always looking for talking, you know. You always got to be talking, even if they don't use it, you know. If you walk around silent, it's no good to them. So you're always talking, you're always repositioning the cameras, going back and getting them, changing batteries, changing cards, and it's endless. So whatever, imagine this. It does piss you off. If you don't hate them before you go in, you'll hate them fuckers before you get out. Yeah. But
so they give you a check and you love them again.
Yeah, then we're all good, boys. But anyway, when getting there is the whole deal.
Yeah.
You just whatever you do for a living. If you're a truck driver. If you're a pizza delivery guy, I don't know. Imagine whatever you do for money, and then now imagine doing it all day long with a couple cameras on. You know, you got one. We're doing it one-handed. You got one in your hand, and then there's a couple other floating around. We're repositioning. Yeah, the whole self-filming thing makes it twice as hard as it naturally would be, and you're wanting to get it too, you know. You're wanting to be famous. This is your big shot, you know. So most of us don't slack on it. We were cameraing as hard as we could.
Yeah, I saw because you read a lot. Like when I was looking up the information about the show, because I was trying to remember some of the other. I knew quite a lot about you because obviously you won, and everybody remembers the winner. But about some of the other people, so I could get the names right. It hasn't worked. I've still forgotten all of their names. But the question that kept coming up when I was typing it into Google and shit like that was, are they really on their own? Are they really on their own? And this was the question. And I'm
Absolutely.
I wouldn't. I don't think people would go half as crazy doing it if they wasn't, because you'd have somebody to talk to. And that's what, to me, was always giving it away. It's like they're clearly on their own, because they wouldn't be sitting there doing that. They wouldn't be going crazy talking to themselves. They wouldn't be so dejected over nothing when they've been fine up to this point if there's anyone to have a conversation with. So.
Great point. You nailed it right there. If there was a camera crew, you could feed off of that. You know, you could get your contact off that camera crew if there was one.
Yeah. I thought the other woman was gonna go a bit stir crazy. The dark-haired woman. I forget her name.
She did a bit.
Island.
Yeah, because everything she was catching and killing, she was getting like really emotional, and you can kind of understand why. But I just thought to myself, like, she's talking to the dead animal. Is like, I don't know what's going on here. Do you know what I mean?
I watched it and I seen that, and of course I know Kylan from, you know, our preparations and everything.
Yeah.
But the fact is, she was number 3. I mean, she hung right in there too.
I'll tell you what, she's tougher than most men in the world.
She is, well, for sure.
Yeah.
But you make a good point there, Lee. Like when I see her straight away, and no, was it her? Was it that one that was crying when she killed the first animal?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how the fuck are you going to last 100 days if you're that emotionally attached to this fucking animal that you got to eat this shit, and you're struggling already straight away. Like, why are you here? This is what I thought. Obviously, she proved me wrong, but because she lasted a very, very long time. I can't believe she threw it in when how long did she go? 70 something.
I think now I don't have it in front of me, but I believe she was 77 days.
Whoa!
How can you? For a fact, but that's a long time, and it might have been a little longer than that. But she was number 3. After her, it was just me and Callie. So
yeah,
and then she found that good fishing hole through the ice, and if she wouldn't have missed them couple fish, she might have been right up there till the end.
Yeah.
Like I said, none of us knowed it. None of us knowed what the other ones were doing. So. It all panned. When they finally came in and got me, and my sister come, and it was like, wahoo.
Yeah, you know it.
But immediately, as soon as me and her rejoiced, I said, well, how many's left? You're the only one.
You shared some Musk Ox brains.
Yeah, the Musk Ox. Yeah, the Musk Ox. So that must have pissed you off as well. You killed this Musk Ox about 3 million miles away from your house, and you got to go get it.
Oh wait,
and bring it back.
Because on the recording, it's sort of implying it's taking you a long time to get a little bit back at a time. But you only seen like 2 minutes of it. How long was it taking you to get that back to camp?
It took every bit of 4 days. I could only get 2 or 3 trips a day, and with the hide and the head and the whole 9 yards, I packed it all back. It was like 10 or 12 trips, and after the kill, it was 2 miles away, a good 2 miles. Now, I couldn't know that. There was no way for me to know that. But, I mean, I bet on 2 miles all day long, and it could have been hair longer than that.
Was you afraid of
a big rock face and out across the top, and then the son of a bitch was down in this ravine? And
was you afraid of wolves?
And then you can't just butcher him up and leave him wide open to the birds and everything.
Oh, that's
You have to secure that every load. Secure the whole thing. Yeah. I was damn lucky it didn't get hit. I mean, it wasn't just luck. I cached it and covered all my bases as best I could. But still, you could easily rolled up there the next morning, and a black bear just had that son of a bitch destroyed.
Because I was going to say, it's like with transporting all that meat, because the wolves about as well. Like who's that? I think it was the South African guy.
Amos, what his name was.
Yeah, outside of his shelter, there was like a pack of wolves, and I was thinking to myself, like, you're transferring all that meat back to your shelter, and I'm thinking, surely there's got to be wolves that smell that.
I had some wolverines lurking around in that black bear, but somehow the wolves missed me. They were all hanging out over Amos's way. Which is
speaking of Amos, quickly, did you be honest? Did you laugh when he burnt his house down, Amos? Because I thought it was brilliant.
It was great, And
it's just as well he tapped out when he did, because he burnt his fucking house down straight away. Yeah. I don't know what he's, but I was watching it and I just thought he seemed all right. He seemed normal. He seemed like, I thought, hang on, he's a bit of a dark horse here, this Amos. And then suddenly he's like, no, I've had enough and going home. And I'm like, what the fuck did that come from? You was all right 5 minutes ago, and then he burnt his fucking house down. And I was like, oh, he really wants to go.
Fire, if you do your research into this lifestyle, that there's been a lot of fires take a lot of men out up north, and it makes sense. You just got fire in your tent or in your cabin all the time. I think fire is always going to be an issue.
So someone else did that, didn't they? It was the other guy that started it. He put it out.
Mark got his out. Mark's got on fire, and then if you watch season 6, there's a couple fires. I mean, fire's your best friend or your worst enemy. Always has been. Man, you can't control fire. It's always been that way since ancient times, even till today. Fucking refinery catches on fire, it's done.
Did you think was yours at any risk then, or was you secure from that in your rock house?
That was half the point of going with rock.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't got to worry about fire. I can make a bigger fire when they go with them little wiki up type shelters. They have to keep their fire small. But there's some merit to that. You know, a small fire, they don't have to get as much wood. You know, there's that whole mentality to being in the woods. You know, keep it small, conserve your original calories and all that. My plan was more aggressive. You know, build a substantial structure. I could stand up in rock house. I don't like to crawl around like an animal. No. And you got to be somewhat comfort for a long-term stay. I wanted enough wood. I wanted enough fuel. But once you start down that avenue, you have to kind of pull it off. You know, once you blow your initial calories, whatever's already on your body when you go in, you know, in this process, you got to see it through. Whereas some of them elect to build a lighter shelter and cut less wood and try to conserve your energy. But I didn't feel that was the 100-day plan.
No, you're thinking long term. If someone had come up to you and said, if your sister had turned up on 100 days and they said, right, you can do another 100 for 2 million, would you have carried on?
Yeah, I'd have went for it. Yeah.
Double the time. Yeah. That's brilliant. I love that.
For anything, yeah. Only, but I don't know if I'd have put my original million on the line. You know,
no, you've got to keep that. Yeah.
Right.
But surely there's something in your head where you're chalking off your fucking calendar tree, and you got like 100 days in now. You must be in your head. You're going. Yeah, I've got a couple of days to do this. It's getting past that. Like surely you'd be tempted to just take the million and leave, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you absolutely would. I mean, 100 days is a big, long grind. I probably might have had to thought about that a little bit. Yes, sir. I mean, it's when you're notching them fuckers off one at a time.
Did you sometimes look at that tree?
Even in the 60s and the 70s, you're thinking, oh, my God, we got
still got a month.
3 weeks to go at least.
You're looking at it thinking, have I missed any here? Have I missed, or did you get up first thing in the morning and just chalk it off on the tree? Are you looking at it thinking?
Yeah. I knocked it off. I knocked it off every morning.
Oh,
I couldn't wait to fucking natch out another one.
Is there any point that you thought, I ain't gonna do this? I'm gonna quit?
No.
Did you have a really bad day at all out of the 100? Was there any day that you really thought, nah, fuck it?
No.
It didn't come across that you did.
No, it just looks so natural.
No, not after that Musk Ox. I mean, shit. Once that Musk Ox was secure, I was like, this is over.
I was like, what? You was eating lips and shit, weren't you, from that thing?
Say again.
You was eating its lips and shit, weren't you? Like,
yeah. Well, that goes back to all the training and I've lived this lifestyle. It wasn't even training. I've lived it. You know, I've spent all them winters up north. I'm a big game guide. I've butchered so many animals in the field. It's nuts. That's how I was so good at getting that Musk Ox back. And then so you get down like it in the trophy world. We have to turn the heads and everything out in the field and salt them because we have no refrigeration. And not just alone. I mean, in what I do for a living, the guiding. So I know that the nose is fatty and everything. And then I say this and people like to hear it, and it's true. You know, them Eskimos I hung out with up north, they always really like the fatty parts of the animal, like the nose. The moose nose is a delicacy to the Eskimo and stuff like that. So I know that through hanging out with them. Plus with my own experimentation, you know, like I said, them times I got caught and not picked up after trap lines and had to eat sled dogs and shit. Well, you eat their fat, you eat their everything. You eat their kidneys, you eat their tongues, you eat their liver, the whole deal.
I got something I wanted to ask you what I was watching it. I thought, I wonder what Roland would do here. When the lady, the second place, is it Callie? Was that her name?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Callie.
When she didn't want to eat, was it the porcupine?
Right, she had that porcupine with the diseased liver. She felt.
What would you have done?
Spotted. Yeah.
What would you have done in that situation?
I'd have just cooked it super good. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all you got. You got to eat it.
Yeah. Because I thought she's not going to do it. I said the other guy would do that.
Off salmon, rabbits, and it'll lay you up. If you catch rabbit fever, you're done.
Yeah, you would have took that risk.
I don't see that. It goes back to like when you said I ate that squirrel blood and stuff and didn't get sick. Same deal with the porcupine with me. I started eating stuff like this at a very young age, even as an 8-year-old tooling around the countryside on my bicycle as a young boy in hillbilly heaven. We were just cut loose. Keith describes it really good. He said he was turned loose feral when he was a young lad down in Kentucky. I really like that saying of his. And so I was very similar, obviously. Man, I mean, I'd be drinking out of ditches and mud puddles and stuff as a boy. And so I've always ate and drank stuff. I don't know if it comes from all that or if I'm just naturally able to eat stuff. But the point is, I can eat stuff that'll make other people just sick. It'll take them out. I can eat stuff that'll make a bear puke.
You would think though, to some degree, that the other people that were in it was along those lot. Like they've lived in the wild. A lot of them were saying, "I live in the wild. That's my normal life. This isn't going to be a challenge for me. I always do this." This is what they was all saying at the beginning. And I'm thinking, and then you're picking and choosing what you're eating, and you're crying about killing things. And I just think, do you really live in the wild?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I mean, they do, I guess. I mean, they probably definitely more than your average bear, meaning person. But compared to me, them fuckers ain't living in the wild. I spend at least 200 days a year outdoors, meaning a tent or shack in a pickup truck, whatever, And we all, I ain't like running around living off the land every day of my life by any means, but I do got them stretches at the end of some very remote trap lines and expeditions in the north where I wasn't picked up by my pilot. And I went, past Christmas and New Year's, past the pickup time and ran out of food and had to go pull some trapping bait down off the line and gutted the peanut butter jar and wiped it out, and ate them sled dogs that time. And just going out and playing with it for a weekend or even a week-long quest is a lot different than being out there. I got 2 or 3 month expeditions under my belt prior to Alone. Those were supplied. I didn't run out until the end. But, I mean, I very much doubt anybody's had my experience. Actual experience, teaching it and living it's always 2 different things, always.
Yeah. Did you find yourself? Did you watch the whole series back?
Say again.
Did you watch the whole season back when you watched every episode?
Yeah. I have watched it. Clearly.
Did you find yourself like critiquing everyone else what they was doing? Just sitting there thinking, what the fuck are they doing that for? Why are they doing it that way? What are they doing that?
I do. I tear everybody up in my mind, but it's just. I know what's going to happen when you do certain things. I equate this stuff to playing chess. And I've said this in another podcast or perhaps in an interview I had with History Channel. Every move you make in the woods when you're living out there is like playing chess. You gotta look at that and think, now what's going to happen, after I do that, I'm always looking at the next move. And I might even make that move and something starts developing that I don't like, and I'll back off from that move. And fucking like a chess game, believe it or not, there's a lot of thought, there's a big misconception to us. I portray myself as a woodsman. Like it, when you're getting picked for this show, they always ask you, well, are you a survivalist? Are you a prepper? There's a name for what you are, or are you a traditionalist? That's one of them. And I couldn't really think of where I fit in. So I'm a woodsman. I represent the old timers. And then when you are making them woodsy moves, it's like playing chess. In my mind, every move you make, you got to watch for the repercussions or the benefit.
Do you think, did you do anything there in this show, because it was a very long time? Did you do anything that you thought, that was stupid, what did I do that for? That was a mistake.
I did. I had a couple boo-boos happen. Anybody that says they would be full of shit. And yeah, I made a couple bad fucking moves, and as soon as I seen they were wrong, but once you lose something or put something in the wrong place, there it is. Yeah, I made a couple boo-boos.
I can't remember who it was. There was somebody. It's either this season or one of the other seasons. He decided, which was clever, to hide all of his meat up on a towel. Was that this season? He built something and put his meat up there and left the fucking ladder there.
Yeah, that did happen. I think Jordan did that in season 6.
Was that season 6? He had a
pretty good. He got rid of that one Wolverine, but there was another one sneaking around, and it went right up. And I believe he did leave his ladder up, but.
You've got to be crazy. You build a ladder to make sure you can get up access, and then leave your ladder.
It forgot to take his goddamn ladder.
What else you got to do? Like, you remember, just pull your ladder away. What are you gonna do? Go and watch TV and forget about it for a bit? Just pull your ladder away. I mean, I've never done it, and I'd remember to do that. You're gonna go to all that effort to put your meat up there because you're trying to be clever, and then it's like, give everyone access to my meat while I'm doing it.
Right. Yep.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's just human error. You got to be fucking sharp, man. It's like anybody at the top of their field, whether you're, doing this stuff or whatever you do, if you're at the top, you're fucking smart.
You didn't have any problems with any frostbite or nothing then? How did you avoid that?
No, I didn't have no problem with frostbite. I got a couple spots on my face that'll get really cold from past expeditions, but they never really turned into full-fledged frostbite. And you see all that gear that I had on, the fur and everything, and the boots was gear that I had taken on previous trap lines and was proven. But I don't know. I don't get cold. I don't get hurt. I don't get sick. Now, by cold means cold enough to do yourself damage. You're always fucking uncomfortable. It's always kind of chilly to you.
Yeah. I'll just. Does anyone else want to ask any questions? I'm kind of dominating this conversation.
Roland, have you got any other shows coming? Have you been approached by any other TV shows?
Not yet. I'm putting it out there, but
he's on Whatkast. He's officially made it. He's on this podcast.
COVID, doing lots of podcasts. Yeah. The COVID thing ain't helping me. I had a bunch of speaking engagements coming up and stuff, and now COVID got shit all fucked up. And here I am. I made it. COVID pisses me off more than anything. I made it. I'm the go-to survival fucking expert of the whole world. You don't beat alone. Alone was like Callie said, the Olympics of the survival world. I smashed it.
Yeah.
And then boom, COVID comes in right behind me and scrambles the whole damn thing. But I am looking for the next gig, and I'll dig something up. Yeah, you ain't getting rid of me.
So if they come and approach you and said, like, we're doing a year's challenge alone, 5 million, you in?
Oh, I'm in. I'll kill it. Yeah, definitely.
Fucking
you
brilliant.
Betcha. Yeah, and I think for somebody to pull off a year, I'd love to do a year. I want to do a year bad, but I think they should. I mean, we can try it with the 10 items, in the alone scenario, but that might might not happen even for me. So, if we get a few more items and stuff, and we could feasibly shoot for a year. I'd love to knock out a year.
But who's going to compete though?
They should get all the winners.
But the winners what's the longest anyone did before you?
The longest is my 100 days.
Yeah, well, before you, who was that and how many?
87 was the record.
Right. So, and who won that? Which series? Which season?
I believe, I don't know the season, but I believe, and I'm not for sure, but I believe Zach Fowler had the 87 day.
And how did he do? Did you watch him? Did you think he was any good?
I watched him. It was season 4 or 5, perhaps. Like once I was selected, I watched everything just to kind of get a feel for what was going to happen. And he did some cool stuff there. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
he's going to be in there if they do a rematch or a playoff, whatever you want to call it, and everybody's, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but there's a lot of people in the computer world chit chatting. They'd like to see championship playoffs or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if that's going to happen. I have no clue. Once our season's over, they don't tell us nothing. Like, people ask me, well, where are they shooting this year? Shit, if I know, they ain't going to tell nobody that. And so, anyway, if they do have the championship deal, it'll be, I know Fowler will be in there just from watching his stuff, and he had that good record. You know damn well Jordan Jonas is going to be there. That was last year's winner.
Right.
You know, he did excellent. And you know I'm going to be there. That's a no-brainer. So, and who they're going to get after all that, I don't know.
No. This is what I'm thinking. It'd turn into.
If get all 10 champions, it would be awesome. But
it can't be a year. If they did
and Wanya and things that, you know, I think they can put together a championship deal.
If they did a year though, surely these people wouldn't last. I mean, you could probably do a year. I don't know if there's anyone else. If people was comfortable still at the end of their season, they could possibly do a long period of time. But if a lot of people were quitting before 100, how are they going to get them to do 365? It'd just be the road show.
A whole year would be hard to film. You know, that's just a whole lot of footage. I don't know how that would go down. And yeah, getting 10 to commit to something like that, a year's a long time. But I'm up for it. I'm up for it. And I tell them all, you know, this is my gig. I've done this my whole life. I'll smack it again. I'll smear it again. Put them in there. I'm ready.
Yeah. Chris, you got anything you want to ask?
Oh, there was a show. Do you remember a few years ago? There was a show called 10,000 BC, which was a British contestant.
Do I remember this?
They went to Bulgaria or something, and they tried living like that as a team, and they were rubbish. they were picking up collecting nuts, and that was basically their food. And when I started watching Alone, I thought, oh, this is the same sort of thing. And I thought, no, it ain't. They're actually getting meat. Like, I don't think the British people have got it, have they?
No. Would you have been interested, Roland, if they'd done something like that for you? If they'd approached you and said, "You've got to go and work as a team on this show"?
Formulate a team and try it.
No, yeah, like go with a team. Did they know each other beforehand? Was you saying, Chris? These people, was it just
no, I think they were random people.
I would. Here's how I would answer that. I mean, I would if the money's right. I'm up for anything.
Yeah,
but. When I'm with somebody, they're always the weak fucking link. You know what I mean? I'll do better alone every time. If I have to team up with somebody, they got to get down with my you know, like I generally don't do shit like other people. You got to get with my program or we ain't gonna get along, or they just can't swing it. You know, but the other person's always the weakest link.
Yeah. So
that's
a no then.
I would fucking do it if you know, for some exposure and some money and, you know.
Just you'd rather. So what you're basically saying is you'll be happier doing 100 days on your own than 50 days with a team.
Oh hell yeah, yeah. I'd take that all day long. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know that
because the team ain't, you know, they're gonna have to listen to me or we're gonna have problems. And then there's going to be somebody there that don't want to do that, you know, and then there'll be somebody get sick. Somebody will fucking hurt themselves. And, you know, pretty soon I'm just taking care of all these fucking knotheads. Way easier to go alone.
Brilliant. I love it.
Well, Chris, was you going to say something then?
No, that was my question. Would you rather do it on your own or
all right.
work as a team?
I'd much rather be alone. Way better chance of success.
I've got a question for you. So you said, I remember I was watching a show and I just thought, well, that's bullshit when you said this. You said, I'm not going to spend any of this money. I'm going to do this. Did you stick to that? Or have you bought any extravagances? Have you bought yourself something nice car, perhaps?
You mean on spending my money?
Yeah.
I bought some optics and I did splurge on that motorcycle and take a little trip, but I really, you know, money don't. I want it just so somebody else don't get it, I guess. But I mean, you know, you don't win without money. If there's no goal, you can't get excited. But as far as needing money to go spend and blow, fuck, I don't need that. I need a Bowie knife and a hunk of wire, you know.
Yeah.
And a fur hat. It's just nice to know. It's nice to know it's there.
What did you make a hat out of? Was that the Musk Ox you made
Musk
a hat
Ox
out of?
bollocks, wasn't it? It's like the sack around, wasn't it?
Was it?
I already had my hat. That was part of the gear I took in, and that hat was Arctic Wolf from Alaska that I've used before. Actually, my seamstress in Red Devil, Alaska, Lenore Baird, sewed that hat up for me. God bless her. But the thing I made out of the Musk Ox head was just a great big pouch. The head's like the nut sack I used to scrotum too. I mean, that ain't rocket science. That technology's been around forever. The Indians and the old timers had that figured out 1,000 years ago because it's already a pouch. There's no sewing involved. And now the head, there was some sewing involved, but it's minimal because it's already kind of shaped that way. I just closed up the lip holes after I shaved out all the good stuff. I mean, I shaved that the gristle and the fat out of all that, and then took my wire and stitched up the back and made, and it was like a pouch bucket. I carried everything in that. It was a good move. Did
you make much money back in the day when you was tanning the hides? Because I've seen people do this on some shows. You're rubbing brains and shit into it.
I made a living with the trapping and the hide tanning and things. I wouldn't say I made money because even though I made a living, this lifestyle, this is why nobody does this lifestyle. Like I love to trap and tan hides and hunt and all that so much that I made it pay for me. But if you keep track of your hours, you're working for dog shit. You're working your nuts off for minimal return. But you go in the wilderness with your food and your boat and your axe and gun, and then you live all winter and come out and maybe you have $8,000, $9,000, possibly $10,000 worth of fur. This is if you did well, very well. Yeah. And so you made a living and you get all that money at once. Well, then you got to send that fur all off to the auction. You got to wait 4 or 5 months for the payday. It's a process. You ain't going to get in this quick. So no, I didn't make much money. I have made a little money logging. I'm really good at cutting down trees. Gold mining was a tough gig. Didn't make no money gold mining. Made a living, all this time, but brought it home with the alone thing, man. I'm fat now.
That's all you needed. You could use an actual oven in the kitchen now.
Yeah.
Anyone else got anything to ask Roland? Because I'm going to wrap this up in a minute.
No, I was going to say, you look like you've packed on a bit of muscle since the last day of Alone.
Good observation, and that was part of my plan too. That was one of my biggest fears going in there. I think I'm the second oldest man to ever win that, and I'm definitely one of the oldest players. And I was the oldest of this season, say season 7. I was the old man. I'm 49. I was 48 in there. Yeah. And you don't just bounce back at that age, even though I'm a stout fucking old man, boys. I'm hanging tough big time. But and you're approaching 50, say I would have lost too much weight and had, some joint, your body will start eating your joints and things. So anyway, everybody knows that. This was part of my plan to get the hell out of there and bounce back into a good feeding program and, get back anything I might have lost. And I was scared I would go too far and not get it back, but I got it
back. Love it.
Brilliant. Yeah.
You must have invested in some gym equipment then, because the fucking gyms are all closed in this country anyway.
No, I see a video of Roland in his one of his cabins with a dumbbell. It looked like you had a shitload of wood around you and you was just fucking pushing his like doing bicep curls with his dumbbell.
Oh yeah. I like grabbing up a dumbbell. Yeah. I don't necessarily go to the gym, but I got a little exercise deal I do. Like when I'm hunting and packing all that meat, I don't need it. When I'm logging, I don't need it. But yeah, I got that dumbbell sitting right over here. Actually, same damn one.
Just a fucking caveman. Just like a woodsman caveman.
look at this painting somebody drew of me. Now, there's a famous artist here in central Pennsylvania. His name is
Jesus.
John Hampton.
Right.
He was so impressed with the show. Now, he says that is a spin-off of this. You know, we're supposed to look alike there.
Right.
This is me 100 years ago. Now, this is my book. Since we're wrapping it up, I want to get my book in here.
Yeah.
You can go to my website, www.rolandwelker.com. I don't know how you do all that. Get on there and flick around.
Yeah, that's perfect. Everyone will understand that.
Yeah.
What about you got a YouTube or something like that you want people to subscribe to or anything like that?
I'm all on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and I don't know what that stuff's all called, you know, but I'm out there all over. You plug in my name.
Yeah. I found you, so they will.
And then you'll know all about me. I got a cool shirt. Look at that son of a bitch.
There you go. straight out of Rock House.
Yes.
That picture was taken at Rock House.
He's got fucking merch going out of his ear-rolls. Yeah.
And I'm even redoing my knife. I got a knife smith in Oklahoma putting out my knife. This is the third run. I wouldn't accept the first two because they weren't quite like I wanted them. But that's a pretty good handmade duplicate of the one I carried at Rock House.
Yeah.
But you know, that's just for fun. You don't make no money like that. But
that's right. You've just plugged your website, so they know where to go get the merch and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Website and piss around if you want to see some.
Yeah, get one of them t-shirts straight out of Rock House. So this is going on YouTube anyway, so they'll be able to see that.
Right.
Love that. Right. Okay, I'm going to wrap up then. Thanks very much for coming on, Roland. Hopefully we'll see you again in the future episodes. If they're season 10 or something and they're saying, right, Roland's put it on this podcast, he wants to do a year. So History Channel, if you're ever... History Channel, if you're listening, he's in.
Everybody start putting that out there. We want to see a year.
Yeah, I'll put it all over the podcast. All right, thanks a lot then, Roland, and we'll catch you later. We'll be back in a minute for Hate of the Week.
Yeah. Cheers, Roland.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, mate.
For having me.
You're welcome.